Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 20th, 2026. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, well, I'm doing about the same. It's the same day. This is a part two, if you will. I don't know. We had a lot on the docket. My initial planning going into this episode was like, let's just split it up and then we'll get it done. But boy, howdy, the first act was pretty rough. Anyway, here we are, part two. Uh, let's go ahead and do our startup. Let's just be a little bit more closer to normal, huh? Let's take a deep breath and let's just get through a few little extra things. Hopefully, this will be a little bit more relaxed, a little less tense. All right. Our first story is coming from CNN. FBI raids former Representative Eric Swalwell's home, seizes devices and probes tied to sexual assault claims. Federal agents seized electronic devices from former Democratic Representative Eric Swalwell at the San Francisco airport on Saturday and then raided his home in Washington, D.C. the next day as part of an ongoing probe connected to sexual assault allegations. Sources familiar with the investigation told CNN. Swalwell did not immediately respond to messages from CNN following the raid, but he has repeatedly denied all allegations of sexual assault. The FBI declined to comment. Swalwell resigned from Congress and dropped his gubernatorial bid in April after reporting from CNN and the San Francisco Chronicle detailed allegations of sexual misconduct, including one former staffer who said he had raped her. Which we've covered a little bit of that story in episodes prior. There are more details here, but I did actually want to take an aside. I forgot to put this on the docket, but let's see. Race to replace. Gotta put this in the whole Google here. Because this is some breaking news that I forgot to hear. Here we go. Found it. Go ahead and read this from PBS. State lawmaker Aisha Wahab wins California special election to replace former Representative Swalwell. California State Senator Aisha Wahab will serve out the rest of former Representative Eric Swalwell's term after securing a victory Thursday in a special election. So I think this is also this is definitely interesting. She will be the first Afghan American to serve in Congress. The Progressive Democrat defeated Bay Area Rapid Transit Director Melissa Hernandez, even after a swell of spending by outside groups opposing Wahab in the race's final stretch. She said her victory shows her district cannot be bought. So fucking hell yeah to that. That's a bit of a silver lining in this situation. I saw that when I was in between stories, but I forgot to put that on the docket. So there we go. But let's move on to our next story from CBS News. FDA upgrades recall of frozen blueberries sold at Publix to highest health risk, or highest health risk level. The Food and Drug Administration upgraded a recall of frozen blueberries and mixed berries sold at Publix grocery stores across the U.S. to the highest health risk level on Thursday, according to an enforcement report. Publix on July 29th announced a recall of 4 varieties of frozen green-wise organic blueberries and mixed berries sold at stores across 8 states over potential E. coli contamination. The FDA is now categorizing it as a Class 1 recall, which the agency assigns to product recalls in which there is a reasonable probability that the use of or exposure to volatile product will cause serious adverse health consequences or death. 12 people infected with the outbreak strain of E. coli have been reported in 2 states, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC. No deaths linked to the outbreak have been reported, so that's good. Let's see. Several states, their public stores. Let's see. We'll list the states real quick: Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia are under recall. They should be discarded or returned to Publix for a full refund. Their expiration dates are before February 9th, 2028. Now they have some codes here. We're just gonna skip those. By all means, look it up and definitely follow the recall. Like I said, if you're potentially infected, you're looking at your blueberries like, "Ooh, I did go to the police and get those." Just don't take the risks. There's no need. But a little bit of bonus news here at the end. Last week, the FDA also upgraded an egg recall to the highest health risk over potential salmonella contamination. Okay, so yeah, I mean, hey, we're kind of coming up in the latter half here where we're getting back in our recall situation. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, they're dragging me out of that. Hey, we're doing less war, more recalls. I don't think that's a good. Neither are good. What can I say? Anyway, we have one more story that I wanted to cover. Once again, breaking news update from Bricks and Minifigs that I was like, I do not want to go the whole weekend without covering this. So here we are. Let's go ahead and take our last break. And I won't say this is the final chapter because I would be lying. If I said that, but definitely this is a pretty major update, it seems. Mm. So yeah, for the second time tonight, let's take our last break. Ay caramba. All right. Now, this last story is coming from Kotaku. Don't normally use Kotaku, but, works for what we're talking about today. Bricks and Minifigs' $200,000 Star Wars Lego dispute that spawned reckless bin drama reaches partial settlement. It's been over 2 months since we've covered Reckless Bin's viral battle to reclaim the Manziel, the Manziel family's $200,000 Star Wars Lego collection from Bricks and Minifigs franchising, and for good reason. It devolved into boring legal stuff. Once the drama reached Utah courts, the juicy controversy surrounding the drama mostly died down, and things finally started to progress through proper legal channels. Let's see. Once the temporary restraining order against both Ben and the Manziel family expired, the long-delayed third part of Reckless Ben's investigation was eventually released, and the Mormon Mafia angle that initially enthralled the internet mostly took a backseat in Ben's videos in favor of his efforts to document his struggle to make his case in Utah courts. Unfortunately for Ben, that segment of the legal battle is still ongoing, as is the lawsuit issued against Bricks and Minifigs franchising on behalf of Crystal Law Gorman, who previously, with her husband, owned the Bricks and Minifigs store in Keyser, Oregon, from which the Manziel family's Lego collection disappeared. However, one of the three ongoing legal fights has finally come to a head, and it's the one that initiated this entire debacle in the first place. BAM, or BAM franchising versus the Manziel family. In a joint statement on Bricks and Minifigs franchising website, attributed to BAM Franchising Incorporated, Imam and Matt McNeff, Baker Salem, Josh Johnson, Brandon Bess, and the Manziel family. The collective group stated that they are pleased to announce that they have reached a comprehensive and amicable resolution of a private civil dispute relating to the Manziel family's Lego Star Wars collection. The statement doesn't detail exactly how much the Manziel family is going to be paid following the resolution, but it does state that the statement is not an admission of liability, wrongdoing, or unlawful conduct by BAM, the Manziels, or any other released party, in that the Manziel family's collection was originally consigned to a former operator of the Bricks and Minifigs Salem Keizer, Oregon store. The last bit is important to note in. Sorry, let me run that back. The last bit is important to note as in an email spotted by the Salt Lake Tribune, Crystal O'Gorman stated that her lawsuit against BAM franchising is still moving forward and not affected by the Manziel settlement agreement. Likewise, while Ben has seemingly not mentioned or addressed the Manziel family's resolution on his socials, this seemingly doesn't affect his ongoing lawsuit against BAM franchising either. So, this is big. I mean, this was the core, the crux of what started that whole fucking thing and, got all the, all this attention. Um, it's good that, at least the Manzels are going to get some kind of compensation to kind of close this chapter out for them. Obviously, Bricks and Minifigs was moving pretty fucked up, their higher up chain of command, how they were kind of just taking businesses by roughshod, saying, oh, we clearly just stand to make a lot of money here and we'll call this account closed and just move on. And essentially when they, the family said, no, that's our money. We should at least get the rest of our fucking cut here. What's going on? Essentially saying, hey, we're going to bully you in court if you want to take it there. Like, this is what it is. Sorry. Like, not even sorry, So it's a shame that, it took a content creator to really get involved and get really sticky, get really messy with the shit. To get some kind of resolution for this Manziel family, because I don't think this goes the same way if he doesn't. But here we are. And, there's still more legal tracks that, we will probably be coming back to. So I'm sure the story isn't completely dead. But this was a big update. It felt really, really relevant. So I didn't want to let it lay for the whole weekend. So there we go. I'm glad I was able to get this in as well as the other stories. So, yes. And just a much more relaxed ending. Yes. Okay. Everything is back together. It's whole. Nothing's on the fritz. Heck yeah. All right. No glitch McConnells. Anyway, that'll be the episode. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is always caring. All the stars are appreciated. All the high reviews on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, but that's okay if you don't do any of that. I really just appreciate that you come through on the episodes that I feel good about, on the episodes that I feel bad about. I appreciate you for sticking through. I know there's some loyal listeners, some real newsies out there, who have really stuck it out. Have listened to some real lemons, and I appreciate you. Also, a bit of a side update. If you stuck around this long, you're getting a little Easter egg. We did some sleuthing. We've been asking some questions. We've been doing some man on the street from the Taste of the Warehouse event. Apparently, the veggie lasagna was a hit, and I missed out. So maybe next year, I learned my lesson, and maybe I try the veggie lasagna. Because, like I said, I know when my homies make it, it's good. It's yummy. It's yummers. But maybe it is good on the street too. I don't know. Maybe I got to venture out in the world. Anyway, that's it. That's the episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.